For this question, it is asking how did I use new media technologies in the construction, research, planning and evaluation of my media product. Firstly, I will start with the research. I researched different types of documentaries along with the different types of documentary narratives. And for this I made a documentary genre analysis on Microsoft PowerPoint explaining which one was which and what features made them what they are. I then researched the typical codes and conventions of documentaries and their specific interview setups. I did this by looking at 6 different documentaries. 4 of them were suggested by our teacher, and we had to find 2 more documentaries that we would watch ourselves and give an in-depth breakdown of all the features for each one. To watch these documentaries, I had to use BBC iPlayer, YouTube, ITV Player and Channel 4OD. For the analysis of the 6 documentaries, I had to use different programs such as Microsoft PowerPoint, Prezi, Powtoon and eMaze. All of these analyses were then uploaded directly onto my Blogger. At the beginning of the year, we had to make a mobile phone documentary. This was very useful because the skills we acquired by making this mobile phone documentary would prove to come very in handy and were necessary for making our own documentary in the future, which was based on a subject of our choice. The main equipment we learnt how to use was a video camera, tripod and microphone, and we would be shown how to upload the content we filmed onto the computer by using a USB cable that came with the camera. At this stage we were all very amateur in the sense that none of us really knew what we were doing with the equipment, so the overall quality of the mobile phone documentary was poor, but this was necessary for us to know what was bad and how to improve it and how we could develop upon that when we started to make our own documentary. Jumping forward to our own documentary now, our group created a variety of different questions based on our documentary, which is referred to as the audience research, feedback and questionnaires. These questionnaires were made on eserve.com. From the information we converted it into charts and graphs displaying the feedback we received in a more efficient manner. Done in Microsoft PowerPoint. These questions were for the benefit of the documentary in the sense that it would help us decide upon certain features that may or may not need changing. Features that were liked or disliked by the public, therefore making the end product a more complete professional piece of work. This was a crucial piece of planning that my group and I did. Other ways in which we used planning was that we made many different sketches or drafts of the documentary title sequence called the storyboard, the newspaper advertisement and potential setups for the interviews. We also researched different television scheduling times by using the search engine Google. We made a formal proposal, a running order, scripts, initial plans, and this was all for the documentary. And these were all done on Microsoft Word. Secondary and primary research was also an important section, and again used by Google. Secondary research included images, clips, music, potential archive footage, sound effects, facts and statistics. For primary research, it was again created on Microsoft Word and searched by Google, and included information on potential interviewee locations, potential interviewees, observational footage, mise-en-scène, and potential cutaways. By the time all these tasks were done, we could actually start filming the footage for our own documentary. We would use the same equipment that we used in the mobile phone documentary, so this meant we had some experience with it and could use it better than previous attempts. In some situations, if the mise-en-scène wasn't relevant enough, we would have to set up something so it would make more sense and it would fit in with the topic of the conversation and the documentary. For example, we would try to have a set of books stacked within the background of the shot if there was nothing relevant in it otherwise. The music we got for our documentary was taken off YouTube and then converted into an MP3 file by using YouTube Converter on the internet. The song we chose was Paperback Writer by the Beatles. All of the footage of the recording process we picked up with the camera were documented on Blogger each day in a production diary. This outlines our group's progress as we were adding each piece we got into Premiere. This evidence was usually taken with either a phone camera or a screen grab directly from the computer, demonstrating our work and progress. Adobe Premiere was the main software we used to construct the products, other than Photoshop being used for the newspaper advert and was also used for the graphics in the documentary, which we used torn apart paper and adding these interviews' names and profession with a font we chose from Dafont. As the production for our documentary progressed, we could spot out things that weren't done correctly or to a good enough standard, so they would need reordering once the order of the documentary was appropriate. We were then in a position where we could add the sound effects and the music and sort out any other editing issues with the existing clips. For example, one of our interviews we did, the sound was all wrong due to the low battery on the microphone, so I used the application Denoiser and Dehummer on Adobe Premiere and altered the sound effects until the clip was usable. This was very hard as it was not taught to us in class how to use these tools and these applications, and I had to pretty much learn off my own back. But yeah, I eventually sorted it out. So other tools we used were the crop tool, again on Adobe Premiere, to crop down the interviews, removing unnecessary parts and improve the flow of the sound and the flow of the documentary, so it's not cutting and jump cutting. We also used the radio rooms to record our documentaries, voiceover and narration. This again was technology that we weren't familiar with. We also used the radio room for the radio trailer. After they were done, we uploaded them to YouTube so they could be reached by a wider audience. Finally, for the evaluation questions, I used a variety of different formats to present my work. They were Microsoft PowerPoint, Powtoon, eMaze, Prezi, and iMovie, to obviously make this question, and collected screen grabs from Adobe Photoshop and Premiere of the work that we were doing along the way. Using these programs, I was able to explain and demonstrate my skills improving overall throughout the course.